go. Oh, big right hand. There he goes. He got it. Andrei Arlovski has even tipped him. Vladdy's definitely. Oh, he's out. He goes. And it's all right hand. Right there. And that rocked him. Trying to finish. Look at it. It's over. And it's all over. It has been 6 years since the pitbull. Andrei Arlovski has made his way into the octagon. Andrei with the uppercut. He lands it. Again. It is all over. Andrei Arlovski.
We move on over to the heavyweight division, and former UFC champion Andrei Arlovski is hopeful of snapping a 3-fight losing skid after a very rough 2016. He will have to do so against the surging Francis Ngannou, who will have a 6-inch reach advantage over Andrei Arlovski. And this is a fight where it could very much be one of those changing up the guard style of fights. Francis Ngannou has never fought anyone the level of Arlovski, who has fought some top guys, but coming out on the losing end on all three.
Yeah, very true, but it comes down to the experience. I thought it came down to the experience and your skill set. Andrei Arlovski, if you've watched his career, you know how skilled he is. He's still fast, he's still explosive, he can knock you out in one punch. The thing is, we know Andrei Arlovski has other abilities. We saw in the highlights there, we know he can land body lock takedowns. We know he can submit you, but Andrei Arlovski has fallen in love with kickboxing and boxing throughout his mixed martial arts career. And we know that ego sometimes gets involved. Francis Ngannou, yes, he does have submissions under his belt, but he's going to look to knock Andrei Arlovski out. Will Andrei Arlovski decide to flip the script, not stand and trade with this guy, put him, again, assuming that he's more experienced on the ground, put him there, take him out of his comfort zone and try to win the fight on the canvas. I think that's probably Andrei Arlovski's best bet, but it's the heavyweights, all it takes is one.
I think with Francis Ngannou, it'll be interesting to watch. I mean, this is an orthodox fighter who's very comfortable moving to southpaw, and we know the power that he has in both hands as well. That's certainly something to focus on with Andrei Arlovski and some of the finishes he's had, but I don't really get a sense where you can put Andrei Arlovski at this moment. I mean, a guy that loses to Stipe Miocic,
heavyweight champion,
Overeem,
former heavyweight champion in Strikeforce, former K1 champion,
and then you have Josh Barnett in there. I mean, these are top caliber heavyweights even today, especially today. And with Francis Ngannou, certainly he is blowing through who he's been presented thus far, but there is a major shift of the heavyweight division, and this is the bridge for Francis Ngannou, where we're going to see where he's at, Cody.
Well, this is why you got to build a guy like Francis Ngannou. When you look at him, only 30 years old, and that might seem old to some people, but in the heavyweight division, he's just a baby still. He's only been doing MMA for 3 years, and that's not him coming from a judo background or a boxing background. He physically just picked up MMA 3 years ago, and you're seeing the improvements on him. I love Andrei Arlovski. Everybody loves Andrei Arlovski. He'll always be a perennial top 10 ranked guy because of what he's done, but in many ways you look at that fight with BJ Penn-Rodriguez, and at least there's that thought process of, well, maybe he'll be a vintage form of himself. If he doesn't show at that, then he's in a lot of trouble here, and Francis Ngannou represents, just like Rodriguez did, the future of the division.
But does he? When you look at Ngannou, as you said, the guy's just been training over the last number of years. Yair Rodriguez has a lifetime of martial arts under his belt. This is what he was designed for. We know that Ngannou has that aggressive streak. You just look there. If he lands, you're going to the ground. But there's still moments where he's not refined, and in these spots, can Andrei Arlovski take advantage? Or does Andrei Arlovski, like I said, ego gets involved in a situation like that? You're going to throw at me, I'm going to throw at you. I believe I'm going to get the best of it, and you're going to fall. I think that's a bad strategy.
Well, the smart game plan, you would think, is take this guy to the ground and expose him there. You're training with Greg Jackson, one of the great minds of MMA. Surely he's telling you the same thing. Just get the fight to the ground, and you can expose this guy on the ground. But if you just look at a past performance like a Travis Brown, you're talking about ego, it's the same thing. Surely he would have tried to take down Travis Brown, but no. He's a heavy underdog, and he goes toe-to-toe. He tries to get in his face, and he bullies, and it works there. And it'll work for him in some instances. But I just think against the younger, fresher Lion with an 83-inch reach, you might as well just draw a perimeter around him and think if you get within that 83-inch reach, he's going to hit you. And when you're Andrei Arlovski, a guy that's been knocked out 9 times in his career, finished in 10 of his 13 pro losses, getting hit's likely going to happen. And if it does happen, it's going to spell disaster.
However, look at the guys that are hitting him. hitting Andrei
Very
Arlovski.
fair,
When you
very
look at
fair.
the skill of Francis Ngannou and Alistair Overeem or Stipe Miocic, not the same
But could
thing.
Brett Rogers just run in the
Right.
pocket and throw a bunch of punches? Yes, because all it takes is one to land. That one landed for Brett Rogers, and we saw just a raw talent. Francis Ngannou in many ways is almost like a Brett Rogers in that, or just a raw talent, developing every single day, and he has a much brighter future, so we're happy to see what he can do, and this is the first real showcase fight of his career.
And I mean, you see this pattern where at times it can be overwhelming. In the Travis Brown fight, I mean, that was one where you could just flip a coin and it was the guy who
And it almost did.
And both men absorbed shots in that. I mean, that was not exactly a strategy at its finest if you are Andrei Arlovski or Travis Brown. With Francis Ngannou, though, that kind of exchange, I mean, you have to be looking at Francis Ngannou. This guy has an incredible amount of power. And just because he hasn't fought the level of guys doesn't mean he's not capable of doing
Very
that.
true, but maybe Andrei Arlovski understands, just like Brennan Ward and Paul Daly. Ward understands, even if you lose and you entertain the fans, they're still going to be talking about you. Andrei Arlovski, always in exciting fights, always.
All right. You can catch the MMA Report with yours truly each Thursday at FightNetwork.com. This week, Valentina Shevchenko and Josh Gross on the show, which you can catch at FightNetwork.com and subscribe on iTunes.